The window incident. Gary Hoy was a lawyer in Toronto who liked showing visitors how strong the windows in his office building were. The windows were designed to be extremely tough. During one tour with law students, Hoy ran at a window and slammed himself against it to prove it wouldn't shatter. He had apparently done similar demonstrations multiple times in the past without any problems, which probably gave him a false sense of invincibility. The problem wasn't the glass actually held. Instead, the entire window popped out of its frame. Hoy went straight through the opening and fell about 24 stories to his death. What makes the story so infamous is that he was technically correct about the glass itself. His mistake was assuming that because one part of the system was strong, the entire system was safe. Falling barrel stunt. Karl Suchek became famous after surviving one of the most dangerous stunts imaginable, going over Niagara Falls inside a specially designed barrel. Most people would have never attempted anything similar again, but Suchek wanted to push the limits even further. During a publicity event, he planned a new stunt that he believed would capture the public's attention. The idea was simple in theory, but incredibly risky in practice. He would be sealed inside another custom-built barrel and dropped from a great height into a water tank below. The tank was designed to absorb the impact and allow him to walk away safely. As the crowd watched, the barrel began its descent. Then everything went wrong. Instead of landing cleanly in the center of the tank, the barrel struck the edge. The collision was devastating. The water that was supposed to cushion the fall never had a chance to do its job. Suchek suffered catastrophic injuries and died shortly afterward. Mini electric chair. Michael Anderson Godwin was on death row and originally sentenced to die in the electric chair. For years, he fought the conviction through appeals and legal challenges, and eventually his sentence was reduced. He would no longer face execution. But Michael's story didn't end there. While serving time in prison, he decided to repair a pair of headphones. The headphones were connected to an electrical source, and instead of waiting for proper help, he chose to work on them himself. He was sitting on a metal toilet, surrounded by damp conditions. The wiring was exposed, and basic safety precautions were nowhere to be found. As he handled the wires, he tried to bite them. Electricity surged through his body. The shock was severe enough to kill him. The brazen bull inventor. Perillos of Athens invented one of the most horrifying execution devices in history, the brazen bull. The device was a bull cast made entirely from bronze and was hollow on the inside. A victim would be locked inside through a door in its side while a fire was lit beneath it. As the metal heated up, the person trapped inside would slowly be roasted alive. What made the invention especially gruesome was that Perillos claimed he had built a system of tubes and acoustic chambers inside the bull's head that would transform the victim's screams into sounds resembling the roar of an angry bull. Perillos presented the invention to Phalaris, the ruler of the Greek city of Acragas, hoping to impress him. However, the ruler was horrified by the cruelty of the device. To show how realistic the screams were, Perillos climbed inside the bull himself to demonstrate. Descriptions on what happened next differ slightly. Some say that after the ruler had lit the fire beneath, Perillos was fully roasted to death inside his own creation. Others claim he was partly roasted, then removed and thrown off a cliff to finish him off. Inventing a torture machine and then volunteering to climb inside it yourself has to rank among the worst decisions ever made. The anvil incident. By the early 1900s, people had already started attempting one of the dumbest stunts imaginable, going over Niagara Falls in a barrel. Somehow, a few people had actually survived. So in 1920, Charles Stevens decided he wanted to be next. Now you might think the difficult part would be surviving the huge waterfall alone. Charles had a different concern. He worried the barrel might not be heavy enough. His solution? Tie an anvil inside the barrel with him. The barrel went over the falls. At some point during the violent descent, the anvil broke loose. Instead of helping stabilize the barrel, it became a massive metal projectile bouncing around inside a confined space. When rescuers eventually recovered the wreckage, the results were horrific. According to reports, the only identifiable remains were an arm still attached to the anvil. Lawyer demonstration incident. In 1871, Clement Vallandigham was serving as defense counsel for Thomas McCaheon, who was charged with murdering a man named Tom Myers during a bar fight in Hamilton, Ohio. The prosecution argued that McCaheon shot Myers. Vallandigham's defense was that Myers accidentally shot himself while trying to draw his own pistol from his pocket. To show how it could have happened, Vallandigham wanted to demonstrate. While in a hotel room with other attorneys, he tested the demonstration using a real pistol he thought was unloaded. That's when it went off, and he shot himself in the abdomen. He died the next day from the wound. The irony is that the accident effectively validated his argument. If an experienced lawyer handling a gun carefully could accidentally shoot himself in that manner, then the jury believed Myers had done the same. McCaheon was subsequently acquitted and won the murder case. The beard incident. Hans Steininger was an Austrian mayor who became famous across Europe for having an exceptionally long beard, more than 4 feet in length. At a time when impressive facial hair was often associated with status and masculinity, Steininger took great pride in it. Rather than trimming it, he carefully maintained it and even kept it rolled up or tucked away to prevent it from getting in the way. In 1567, disaster struck when a fire broke out in his town of Braunau am Inn. As people rushed to escape the flames, Steininger joined the frantic effort to get to safety. During the chaos, his beard came loose. While running, he stepped on it, lost his balance, and fell. The fall broke his neck, ultimately killing him. Steininger's beard was so famous that after his death it was preserved and can still be seen today in a museum in Braunau am Inn, Austria. The flying balloon chair. Atelier Antonio de Carli wanted to raise money for charity to make a spiritual rest stop for exhausted truck drivers. He was going to do this by breaking a balloon flight record. He attached himself to a chair tied to about 1,000 helium balloons and launched from the coastal city of Paranaguá, Brazil. He had food, water, a parachute, GPS equipment, and communication devices. His goal was to stay airborne for roughly 20 hours and attract publicity for his charitable project. But things did not go to plan. During the flight, he climbed much higher than expected and was blown off course over the Atlantic Ocean. In one of his final communications, he reported problems with his GPS and said he was very cold. He drifted even further out to the sea and eventually lost contact with rescuers. A massive search involving the Brazilian Navy and Air Force followed. For days, there was hope. But then only fragments of balloons were found floating in the ocean. 2 months later, human remains were discovered in the Atlantic and later identified by DNA as de Carli. Vending machine incident. In December 1998, 20-year-old student Kevin Mackel was walking at Bishop's University in Lennoxville, Quebec. He stopped at a Coca-Cola vending machine to buy a quick drink. However, after making his purchase, the can got stuck. Angry by the situation, Kevin started rocking the machine to try and free it. He pushed and pulled on the front of the vending machine, causing it to sway. The machine weighed more than 900 pounds, but Kevin didn't care. As he continued rocking it, the machine suddenly tipped forward. There was no time to get out of the way. The entire machine fell onto him, pinning him underneath. With the heavy weight of the machine on top of him, he couldn't breathe or call anyone. He remained pinned beneath it until he eventually died from asphyxiation. The gator incident. In June 2026, 40-year-old Victor Rivas was driving recklessly in Louisiana, and at one point he hit a concrete barrier, blowing out a tire. Eventually, police pulled him over, but Rivas decided he wasn't interested in cooperating, so he ran off. He jumped from an elevated interstate into a swamp below and disappeared into the marsh. Police searched for him and eventually spotted him again near a highway. But when officers got close, Victor chose the exact same strategy a second time and ran back into another swamp. That's when he was met by an alligator that attacked him and bit both of his arms. Even after being bitten, he kept running. Police eventually located him using a drone and arrested him. He survived, but the alligator left him injured and hospitalized. The sheriff's office leaned into the absurdity of the story and posted AI-generated images on social media, depicting the alligator as a member of law enforcement named Deputy Al E. Gator. Although this one wasn't a death, it was certainly a close call caused by a very dumb decision.